blue side was struggling.
Yeah.
In the matches yesterday, especially. On the red side, MVP banned Taliyah, Caitlyn, and Galio. They are on the blue side this time. I think Maha, even without the wins, will pick up the Caitlyn if it's available. They make their first adjustment. They're actually banning away Tempt's second champion that he loves to play after the Taliyah, and they even ban away the Cassiopeia.
Well, still a lot of options. The Caitlyn, the Elise, both still up. Still some must bans there. See where MVP want to go, whether they want to leave everything open, and Jace is going to be banned. So yeah, Gauntlet most certainly thrown here, Popspeed.
They are throwing up their hands and saying, give us Syndra, please. We really would love to play Syndra one time. That's what MVP is saying. Now, BBQ could do a lot of things here. There's Elise, Syndra, Caitlyn, all available, all God tier picks. Corki also available.
Yeah.
And can lane into some of the mid lane picks. So with so much up, you can just kind of ban away a pocket pick rather than going for a power pick. And they will just ban away Orianna.
I think that's the most intelligent choice. Leave up all of these big picks, gives BBQ a fantastic second round draft after this first pick, and it is going to be Elise looked at.
We'll see. They'll be at least looked at. There's so much to consider here for MVP. They don't respect Tempt playing Syndra, so they're not going to first pick the Syndra. They will first pick the Caitlyn, which has been so often the talisman for victorious teams in recent times.
Yep, for both of these teams, it's a talisman for losing. See whether we can
It's
make
opposite.
it 0-8.
MVP is opposite week.
Oh, yeah.
Let's turn that 0-7
many,
around.
Yeah, exactly.
To 1
Consider it a 7-0. 7-0 on losing. And today that's good. As Elise is going to be locked in, and now BBQ considering their next option. But this is going to give MVP so many things that they can lock away. Ian can decide to go towards Corki if he wants to, or that Syndra that has been so coveted for him. And with so many mid lane bans, it's a good choice.
Alright, so BBQ was saying let's initiate with Elise and Ashe. A pick comp potentially started up, and Beyond took roughly 0.25 of a second to lock in the Rek'Sai.
He's pretty keen on playing that one, and Ian not going to think
what a
too
beautiful
hard
draft
about
for MVP. This is like the most MVP draft we've seen in a while.
And Max hasn't even picked his champion yet, and he's the actual MVP.
Say it one more time.
MVP. I was going.
That's a sweet spot for him.
No, it's like, have you played a Nintendo game? It's always 3 times. Always got to do everything 3 times.
Well, this is not Nintendo. This is Riot Games.
That's true. And we do things 4 times here.
Well, LeBlanc's going to be locked in. There was a lot of different ways you could go against the Syndra. Something like Exhaust Corki was an option. You could take an Assassin, like, for example, the Zed. But LeBlanc also can dart around, avoid one of the spell rotation, and often be able to do things. Also rotates around the map a lot cleaner than the Syndra. So this is the decision from Tempt, who's had some good games on LeBlanc in the past. Still a risk, though.
May mean that Bless has to spend a lot of time in the mid lane, because if that LeBlanc falls behind against Ian, there's no way that he can dodge the Unleashed power. And if there's enough orbs out, I think that LeBlanc just dies if you press the R button.
Might be a rush to Banshee's Veils on both, which is a bit depressing, but that's kind of what the mid lane has become when you have Syndra and LeBlanc in the equation. Rumble ban. So you're really thinking like they're setting up for Crazy to be playing Renekton in this game as the first pick in the second round. Would be a continuation of the Elise has all the lanes to gank, which is what's happened so far. Ashe in the bot lane, LeBlanc, wonderful for Elise to gank as well. So Renekton would fit this draft really cleanly from Crazy.
See whether he locks it in straight away or whether they want to give him a little bit more space there towards the top side of the map. They can just take a support here, Braum being available still.
I like what MVP did because they counter-pick support on the red side, but in this particular case, they are just going to lock in the Xyrus. They will wait a bit longer, like you say, so maybe the Renekton priority is lower after being on the losing side of the matchup in Game 1 for BBQ.
Yeah. Certainly doesn't have to deal with Rumble anymore. Renekton now going to be considered by ADD, looking to try and win, beat a Renekton and then win as the Renekton. I like it.
One team's always...
Oh, there we go. That's the dream. That's what we were talking about. I wanted it last game, but at least I'm going to be getting it in game number 2. Max, the playmaker himself, wanted to make a double MVP performance on the big robot with a large hand.
Pick City on both sides to some great degree. BBQ have a pick comp, MVP putting one together as well. Great lanes for both the Elise and Rek'Sai to gank. It does seem like Craziest wasn't fancying the Renekton. One of the top laners certainly going to take it. The outscale matchup's going to happen. They will be going for the Shen. This is certainly jungler's paradise, Atlas. You cannot ask for more ripe lanes to gank for both the Rek'Sai and the Elise. And Game 1 told us anything. Beyond gets going on the Rek'Sai, gets the Tiamat, starts skirmishing. Could be good, happy times for MVP, who also have the feel-good picks of Maha on the Caitlyn, Max on the Blitzcrank, but most importantly, Ian gets to strap on the Syndra for the first time this season.
First time this season, and a champion that he has been so incredibly good on. Hopefully he's still been practicing it, because it looked like he was just never going to get it again, Papa Smithy. But now BBQ say, well, maybe you haven't been, maybe we can grab some different priorities, and they certainly have some big picks on their side as well, given the second round Elise. How often do we see Elise on red side? Not often at all.
It's a fair question, but the thing about getting the Syndra is that the moment you start winning, there are new headaches for the enemy team. They have to respect things, they have to adapt, and then the Syndra might slip over to be able to be picked. And this is so important for MVP. If they put victories together, the chance of getting that comfort gets more likely for people like Ian on the Syndra.
Yeah, especially if other players start stepping up. Max certainly an example of that now with more playmaking potential. MVP have drafted themselves into a position for a 2-0. Now let's hop onto the Rift, see whether they can get it.
MVP voice.
Yeah, exactly. Out in force. Fantastic to see as BBQ running out as a group of 4 towards the top side of the map. See whether any funny business is going to go down. Trying to grab a first blood cheekily on a Renekton.
In a game like this, the funny business will happen, but like you say, the early game funny business, a little bit more there for MVP. BBQ are basically saying, hey, at 6, we've got a whole hell of a lot going on.
Oh, yeah.
With the double teleport, the Shen ultimate, and everyone is an initiator.
Edited.
That's a brush you'd love to look in.
Yeah, but don't do it with your face. Don't put your snout in there.
BBQ fans still
Thank goodness.
holding some hope. I love that. That was actually Ghost on the Ashe. That might have actually just been made in the interim after the champion select.
Wow. Some good artwork.
I agree.
Yeah.
The one person drawing Gorilla was the gold standard that one time.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was the dream. But that was an exceptional piece of art done over many hours, you could imagine.
And that's the thing. The fans should know that the placards that you can draw on are available downstairs, so people can, of course, take some extras and go put together some artwork in the interim between matches. It's not all just people in like 20 minutes just whipping up some very nice artwork here at the OGNE Stadium, which may be greeted with only the second MVP victory of the spring season at the last chance of asking. It is the final game of the first round, Rob.
Yeah, bringing them to a much better scoreline and moving MVP away from that relegation, which is so important. Remember, towards the bottom of the table, there are 4 teams that are going to be doing battle for that lower stage. We are relatively divided here in the summer split. Ever 8 winners and Rocks Tigers, as well as the 2 on your screen right now. MVP trying to call themselves away from BBQ on the bottom of the table. Ever 8 winners currently at the bottom. But that is because they've played 1 extra game.
That hype train definitely derailed fast. Ever 8 winners might be joining the middle of the table pack before.
Yeah.
Felt like Faker kind of put paid to that, as Scepted has fallen into a death spree since. Actually has #1 deaths in the league, which Marin looks over and nods.
He's just looking like, oh, I want to make a transition over to a Freaker. How do I do that? Well, Marin seems to be their MVP, and what does he do? He's great at dying. Let's do it.
Marin's stats are so awesome. I mean, talking about Marin in the game that he's not in, but he basically dominates lane to the point where inevitably he dies.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Beyond,
called pressure laning.
Beyond his bot lane, lot of power. The hook is still on cooldown for another second. Now's the time, though.
Yeah, flashes in, gets the knock up. The double make it, and that is going to be the first blood for Beyond. Once again, the hook lands from Max. Another knock up with the Unburrow.
Just beautiful.
And the double kill for the Rek'Sai. No wonder he insta-locked that pick.
That was insanely good coordination. Waited for the hook, all in without needing the hook, and got the second kill. Ghost and Totoro both die with flash up, and MVP have finally found some form. It took so long for them, But wow, what a great start to Game 2.
And MVP were always a momentum team. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to speak about that, Papa Smithy, because they have been falling off a cliff for the last 14 games. And now we're going to see them with some wind in their sails. Such good news moving towards Rift Rivals for this squad, who we know what they're capable of. They haven't had any roster changes to lead them to this loss streak. As
ADD actually invites the spider over the wall.
Yeah, it's like a crocodile spider battle that is going to be escaped from here by ADD until Beyond turns up with a lot of damage available. They are looking just to grab that kill, and now the 2 versus 1 tempt is going to make him his way over first. Knockups are there, but Beyond should be able to fall down. The smite not enough to keep him alive, and those 2 kills answered immediately by BBQ, and I'm not sure what Ian was doing.
Well, you bigged them up as a momentum-based team, and it's a bit of an arrested development here for MVP. As now they're going to lose their blue buff as well, and Bless is going to be significantly accelerated in this regard. We were kind of uniquely able to talk about that particular duel, as it was a spider and a crocodile.
Yeah, it was exciting. The Australian problem battle.
What do you think is the bigger problem as an Australian?
Spiders, definitely. Crocodiles aren't going to be in your home.
Unless your home really sucks.
I mean, I've seen that episode of Jackass, you know, but
I like how you
that's not normal.
thought twice about saying the word ass.
No, I don't know how to say it on this broadcast because I'm Australian. We say ass, you know, instead of ass.
Now you've said it too much. You got one of broadcast, Atlas. You said it too many times.
I'm talking about donkeys, obviously. No, crocodiles. But yeah, you're not going to find them in your house, Papa Smithy, whereas, you know, whitetails, they're always going to be there, ready to bite you and potentially kill you, which is not great. You're going to put that in the cons.
I mean, we made the educated call, right? We looked at the data, we had some years of experience, and then we left the country.
Precisely. Oh, Ian, that was beautiful. Stopped that gank dead in its tracks. Didn't have to use any of his summoner spells. That cleanse held on to nicely. Syndra falling behind in farm just a little bit, but should be able to even it out as this minion wave dies. Tempt good harass, though. Okay, speaking of harass. Just not going to talk about it, Papa Smithy. I seem to be jinxing everyone today.
Ian is finally on the Syndra. We've been noting in the mid lane. As opposed to some other Syndras that got to play it a few times and just wasn't working for them and they fell behind. He just hasn't got his hands on the champion, so we haven't been able to rate Ian Syndra, that at one point was 9-0 in the spring season.
Yeah.
AD looking to push up, wants to get the lane gank coming through from beyond.
Actually going to grab himself a back. There is nothing in his jungle to pick up. No Magic Mantle there, so maybe heading towards the mid lane for a possible gank, but will help him with every situation on this map. Zyra doing a lot of damage, as well as any itsy-bitsy spiders that he does meet. Throwing down that magic damage as well, so good to invest early in that statistic.
He's going to be building Merc Tread, Cinderhulk, and also going to be building up his Tiamat items, so he's got a lot going on, but some parts for now. Got a bit of early power. Yep. Already seen so much skirmishing that needs to respect the magic damage coming in on the side of BBQ.
And what we'll be looking at here for BBQ is whether their ward line is going to improve now in game number 2. You could imagine the coach would have been speaking to them, said, well, why did you lose every single objective?
I mean, this game is literally the power of both teams, kind of the sum of their ward lines, because face-checking either team is instant death, and both deletion damage and also initiation pick CC. If Blitzcrank has to run of the map, we've all played solo queue, we know that every brush could be a rocket grab and impeding Doom. BBQ have run of the map. Blanc, Shen, Elise can show up in an instant. And Zyra also needs to be respected, so if the gold is at parity, then we need to rate based on vision, and if Game 1 told us anything, BBQ need to be much more under the microscope than MVP, especially after the early phase of the game.
Well, speaking of a microscope, Bless was spotted on that red buff. So the location of the Elise is known as ADD. A lot of fury, but he's at 300 health. Crazy having a great time in this matchup so far. The Renekton actually falling pretty deeply behind as ADD understood that there could have potentially been an Elise topside, and he goes back as quickly as he can. Teleport possibly used as ADD decide to pick up that. Oh, goodness me. That's going to be the pick. Totoro's going to fall down, and that is a great start to this one. Crazy doesn't get the flash. Taunt Max survives for so incredibly long. They do manage to get that kill trade, and Crazy's quite tanky, but they get the knock-up. In comes ADD. That's the chain CC. The bottom lane stays alive, but everyone else Sorry, not the bottom lane. Bless stays alive as well as Ghost, but a couple of kills coming in for MVP. A worthwhile trade as Max is the only one to fall.
Yeah, the bot lane party was enacted, and for once, BBQ did not have the double teleport. Tempt was perilously close to being able to join and outnumber MVP. They weren't able to do that. MVP trades up. Even Renekton, who, as you noted, was hanging back, being respectful, gets involved, gets experience, and it all starts with Max. After the auto attack, gets a hook, which was a pretty generous hitbox, you'd have to say. They got the first kill, and even with Stand United, they bought enough time because of the initial sidestep from Max for the teleport. 4.5 seconds of channel time to come through, and they still get the answering kill on Crazy.
Yeah, it was just great knock-up timing there from Beyond as well. Maha's been untouched. He's now ahead by about 8 CS on the bottom side of the map, but those 4 assists are going to be great news for him, and he's even picked up a cull to say, stop KSing me. I'm going to have to buy a new item just to try and get kill gold. You jerks. But still feeling just comfortable enough to do that.
Secret Agent Caitlyn is going to be on the Rift.
Support Caitlyn. It's the feel when you're in a lane with Max, who just takes all of the glory.
Well, he has Ignite and also a lot of burst on the Blitzcrank, so sometimes it won't be his fault. Other times, as you mentioned, he is just being bloodthirsty.
Yeah.
A lot of early skirmish power already put together. Double Tiamat in the top lane, so Rek'Sai and Renekton with a good burst there. Ian has had to be respectful in his build path. I wonder how many Merc Treads we're going to get this game, because it feels like Moby Boots and Merc Treads going to be commonplace.
Yeah, pretty important. See already mid lane is grabbing them, but Ninja Tabi's still what Crazy wants to get, understanding that the Crocodile will be who he wants to do battle against. And ADD changing the build here. He's going for the Tiamat this time, Papa Smithy. Ian taking still a lot of damage.
Crazy went that full tank, but when you're against Shen, whose biggest struggle is going to be the wave clear. Proxy so fast with the Tiamat that, again, anytime I see a Renekton not pick up Tiamat, I think it's a mistake, so there's a bit too much safety in game 1 from Crazy on the Renekton, and now this time it's ADD doing it his way.
That one, Bless, actually looking for the jungler, but good tunnel placement. He's going to give Beyond a very good way out. Crazy hops over and says, stop stealing everything, ADD. You jerk. He's still able to lock that down.
He is a Tiamat Shen, so not Tiamat, a Balmy Cinder Shen.
Yeah.
So not really too worried there. As Tempt is backing. It wasn't in vision, but LeBlanc will get there now.
Yeah, that's the double distortion. Lands the chain there as well as Dominus is popped. And ADD says, come at me, bro. And Tempt says, nah, I don't think I will.
Yeah, both of them kind of didn't need to use their ult there. It was a double gap close from Tempt, so he didn't have the burst to kill necessarily the Renekton. And then Renekton also just used ult for no gain, so never mind. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, I guess the adage goes.
He's still with a lot of fury. He's able to use that Q to get a lot of harass damage despite the dodge field from Crazy. Oh, can't quite get to the minion wave to proxy it. ADD's pretty upset now. But has screamed ahead as far as farm is concerned, picking up everything that he wants. Now going to go back home. Merc Treads is going to be done. He's now building towards his Black Cleaver, as you would assume, unless he wants to go towards a Titanic Hydra very early, but I doubt that.
Double wards in the top side of the map, 2 control wards. One of them that we saw already in the Krug cam. We'll hold on that thought for a moment as everyone's bot lane.
Yep, arrow's going to land onto Max as Maha.
Literally everyone's bot lane.
Gets himself underneath the turret. So Maha survives. Max is going to be the sacrificial lamb.
They need first brick for this, but Beyond and Ian have the inside track in mid lane. More members bot lane, but teleport is going to be used.
Yep, they're going to invest that one, but are they really going to worry about this as Ian picked up turret aggro early on? Beyond has to get himself out. It was a double teleport, but Ian saves his jungler by putting himself in the firing line, and first brick is going to go to BBQ. But what have they sacrificed in order to make that happen? 5 members bot lane means that multiple people getting a lot of time and space to work elsewhere on the map for MVP.
Yeah, no more so than ADD in the top lane, growing his CS advantage, and will get a turret anyway. So you're right about the shared experience and shared gold in the turret claim in bot lane. Only was single teleport, as Crazy teleported over and Tempt ran over to the mid lane, but it's one of those situations where they put all the eggs in getting a pick and first brick, which is 2 big objectives, don't get me wrong. But there still is advantages that MVP could pick up around the map, and returning to the scene of the crime, actually growing more from picking up the outer bot lane turret is not something BBQ was able to do with the sort of macro we saw in Game 1.
Yeah, still were able to grab first brick, and remember BBQ did have a great early game. Got themselves the advantage needed to try and snowball things through. ADD, oh, the Crocodile lurking in the reeds. Terrifying. Vision now available though. That's really upset Rift Herald. It's not going to be able to do anything. It's just cruel by ADD.
Her life is suffering though.
Yeah, that is true.
Heraldine, I think we came up.
Heraldine.
To the tune of Goldie.
Yes. You remember the Goldine?
I do.
Oh, God. Not the best.
No.
As far as Pokemon voices were concerned.
Jan's just onto the Rift Herald. MVP, who had vision around topside, would rather vision around bot because control wards in the river. Theoretically, the robot can just vroom through and look for picks. So getting control, unique vision around Blitzcrank is always big. It's going to be Smite War. Never mind.
Going to be lost, and that is going to be the tunnel immediately. Bless just watches the dragon go down. So if this was days of old, he'd have the timer, at least. It'd be a different story, though, as once again, ADD, stop it. Heraldine's life is awful anyway.
So one of the reasons why you leash something like the Rift Herald is it does seek to the nearest champion after it's leashed. So
hey, that's true.
It is almost like, hey, I'm taking no damage, so if there is people that potentially I'd be face checking, does actually randomly leash around. So it's not completely a waste of time. And he's taking no damage, like I said.
Is it worth making Heraldine's life worth, though, really?
Well, he's really just hunting for honey fruit and then just playing around. So he doesn't seem to respect the Rift Herald's feelings too much.
No. It's awful. Well, hopefully he does leave her alone after 20 minutes into this game.
For some reason we have people just rushing Infinity Edge this week.
Huh. Okay.
New hotness.
Is this Maha just feeling like he's far enough ahead in his lane or something like that?
I do say Peatful, and I should specify, Maha was a Infinity Edge rushing player in previous metas. He's big into the high roll, get 2 crits, and just win with headshot crit. So does like it for the potential burst, and there is burst on MVP's side, so it's not without merit. BBQ this time, the team tends to run a play a little bit, start up the Rift Herald.
Well, we are going to have MVP moving on over. Beyond not going to be able to find any sort of steal like this, but can they get into the right position? Good warding from BBQ, something that we weren't seeing very much in the last game.
Rush mid lane though, and BBQ woefully out of position on this one. Will be in mid lane turret to MVP.
Yep, just delivered. Is going to give the turret advantage over to MVP and the gold lead as well, to the tune of about 2.5 thousand. So despite even on kills, things like that, first brick going over to BBQ. MVP have answered very nicely. You're talking about Banshee's Veils being a thing. Ian has picked up his as well as his Merc Treads, and he's probably feeling a whole lot more comfortable now in that mid lane.
And Tempt, when you see his itemization, is going to try and play side lane and run around the Banshee Veil Syndra rather than trying to brute force her in the mid lane. Rift Herald summoned. It's hard to walk up here because they have to respect the Blitzcrank still.
Can Beyond interrupted on its charge? I don't think anything interrupts his charge, does it?
Her
charge. I apologize. Yeah.
Get your pronouns correct.
Oh, I'm not a pro at pronouns. Which is unfortunate, given my profession.
It's true.
Yeah. Saying stuff probably should be in my wheelhouse. A to D. Oh, OMG, 2 LeBlancs. What does it mean? It means the minion wave's dead, and A to D continues to push up. Not too worried. Does have those Merc Treads and a bit of extra health from the Phage and the Kindle Gem.
Can't throw me off the Sun Atlas. I can count. Only one shit.
I know. The whimsical size of plenty.
Oh, Maha wants to get his way to a static shiv. Be able to start the push war, but MVP in a good spot. They have top lane and mid lane in a great spot. They continue to put some wards around the Baron, and guess what? When you have top lane outer turret and mid lane outer turret down and a control ward on Baron, people end up walking up to the rocket grab quite a lot. So Max can definitely get a lot of work done around the Baron buff in that Vision War.
And I hope the reason that Blitzcrank was picked was because there wasn't a lot of ability. Oh, okay. A to D. Forced to use that flash. Taunt from Crazy enough with an incentive to get out of the way. BBQ investing 3 members here towards the bottom side. And what I was going to say is the pick of the Blitzcrank into a BBQ that didn't ward basically at all in their first game. just shows that, well, if this is going to be what they're struggling with, let's capitalize on that. And it's intelligent draft work.
And with a bit of time, let's talk a bit more about how Blitzcrank's kind of everywhere, right? It was a Max exclusive. You know, Max was the one who played it in the finals, you know, in the playoffs last season. Yeah. After being a big solo queue pick for him, and it felt a bit like cheese, and it was definitely Max adding to his million different unique champions. But in summer season, everywhere there is Blitzcrank play in every region. And one of the big reasons is that we've doubled down on standard lanes. People are pushing, pressure drafts, Rift Herald and Baron both getting so much respect, so much neutral objective contesting, and you start winning with a Blitzcrank who now can get the support quest and be a bit tankier with the shield. Then you get to put down those control wards, and you can run and win objective battles, and you still have the one hook to win the game in the late game as well. So the upside of running Blitzcrank is getting higher and higher, that even though he's not a strong laner, it's now, if you're a great Blitzcrank, worth investing in a pick that's not strong in the lane.
Yeah. As we have a bit of a battle here towards the top side. 2 chains. ADD is most certainly going to survive, and I feel like it's almost compacted, this Blitzcrank thing that you were talking about, by the fact that the bottom lane with the surge in shields being picked up, he was also picked because all-in was more valuable. Sure. So even in the laning phase, something like a Blitzcrank was getting a little bit more stock. So I like it.
It's helpful that the ones that really ruined his day, I mean, Zyra included in this game, but a lot of the champions that ruined his day were nerfed, and Doran's Shield was introduced. Because if you look at this game, it was Doran's Shield Caitlyn. As we're still seeing a bit of an all-in. I don't think anyone's going to kill each other, but it's a Doran's Shield Caitlyn. Because Blitzcrank, when Zyra's doing, you know, poke damage to a Caitlyn, does nothing. But Doran's Shield gives so much healing that solo, it actually allows the Caitlyn to get through laning phase, and Blitzcrank can just do the Blitzcrank thing, look for hooks, and know that Caitlyn is a bit more self-sufficient, even without rushing, say, a Vamp Scepter to get through the poke.
Yeah, just making up for the fact that that laning phase could theoretically not work out.
The meta around Blitz suited him, even if he didn't get target buffs.
I think it's fantastic. Just more all-in in the bottom lane sounds good to me, Pop Smithy. Bring back Leona. That's what I want. Now everyone's here.
There's an Infernal. LeBlanc starts teleporting early. Renekton's not here.
Yeah, does have the teleport available to him though, but teleport completed. We are going to have a 5 versus 5 ADD, not having to invest that teleport.
Wants to walk around, so they should slow down the kill on this Drake. That's why Beyond pulls off. They want ADD to get in position.
That is going to be secured by MVP. Dominus popped by ADD now, but going to get snared up. Not a lot of CC remaining. MVP actually wanted more out of this one, but looks like BBQ have held off just nicely enough. Tempt just playing that maneuver game, and oh, Ian, immediate cleanse gets him out of that arrow. The hook, oh, okay, distortion there from Tempt.
I really like how MVP played that. They allowed ADD to face check in the bot side, get around for a flank, found the LeBlanc, and then if you consider it, wasted all of the LeBlanc's time, who had Flash, who really wanted to get into the backline, and also the Shen ultimate. Didn't die because he's still a tanky Renekton, and they got the Infernal Drake. So well put together was the contest on the Infernal. They pick up the buff. They've actually been the only team to pick up Drakes in this particular series. And now they run the vision around Baron that I spent so much time talking about.
Yeah, and I actually like Cloud Drake in this composition from MVP as well. I mean, we talk about pick compositions a lot when it comes to Blitzcrank, things like that. Moving faster, being able to chase BBQ down is important. Next one's going to be the Ocean. I believe we had almost the same amount of Drakes. It was Mountain instead of Infernal, but, you know, a good dragon, and then a couple of relatively bad dragons.
And Tempt is kind of desperate for the Banshee Veil that he didn't opt into at the start of the game because, you know, everyone's a hook target on the side of BBQ. So he'd much rather be playing in a side lane, drawing pressure, than teleporting, because if they're playing the 5v5 around Baron, Max is going to be liking his chances to make it an uneven fight.
Yeah. Totoro can't get any plants up in time to stop any hooks. And that Zyra will die very quickly. Now, tanking up the turret is ADD. Beyond, a lot of damage to add to this one, despite the fact that there is a dodge field. That is going to be kill number 2, going over to the Crocodile, and another turret.
Just spilled and probably go higher damage here. Beyond already on his way to a Black Cleaver. Bless his bot lane. Wanting to get an exit kill on ADD. Seems unlikely.
Yep. Doesn't land the Cocoon, not too many other options. Actually decided to go with an Adaptive Helm as his first item choice.
Well, I mean, he dies slower to Syndra.
Yeah, but
he dies a lot slower to Syndra, but he already had the repel to potentially get himself out of dodge early.
That's true, actually. Yeah, Unleashed
every
Power,
sphere.
it's very good against Unleashed
every
Power.
sphere you get the benefit of the 15% reduced damage because they are separate spellcasts. Why for a hot minute, Muramana Syndra was a thing.
Yes, I remember that. That was exciting. Bless tanks up the ace in the hole. Not all that happily, to be honest. Now MVP setting themselves up around the Baron once again. 24 minutes in. Certainly do have the option trying to start this one up. And damage is not lacking. Beyond is pretty tanky right now. Speaking about extra damage, we've got double Black Cleaver coming out from Beyond. He's going to do a lot of damage. He's still pretty tanky with the fact that he's gone for the Cinderhulk, which I like a lot in this build path. I in fact just like what Beyond's done with this Rek'Sai build.
I think there's a lot to like about MVP in many different facets, but one thing I'm kind of looking at and shaking my head on BBQ is you need these control wards in your red side jungle. You need to have at least a safe fallback spot. I don't know how shallow that needs to be, given that BBQ don't run the area around Baron. MVP are starting to get control there, but they don't have much fallback, and it just feels like if they don't get their wards down, the Baron buff inevitability is there for MVP.
Well, thankfully for BBQ, they have Hawkshot. Their Scrying Orbs are not up just yet, so they're going to need that Ash E in order to get stuff working. Blue buff. And Max is going to pretty comfortably.
Do it faster. Oh, just about. And Max steals
Oh,
it.
that's why you got to ult it as well, Max.
Yeah, he should have actually kept autoing because the patience was starting to run out as well. So by the end, probably better they claimed it than it got stolen. So he'll just be able to fish for more hooks, so he's happy.
I think that was more denying it from BBQ than giving it to anyone. And look, if Max is at full mana, that's just a bigger shield from the passive, Papa Smithy.
Speaking of which, because he has a large character model, it's a pretty large shield if you look at it.
Yeah.
Not in intensity, but just in sheer size.
Yeah.
We're getting the character information a lot today.
Oh, think of the amount of hooks as well. 30% cooldown reduction now.
Hook City.
Hook City, indeed. Population relatively high as well, Pub Smithy. Just hoping that we actually see some soon. It's MVP taking their foot off the gas just a little bit. Been passively gaining a lead. It's now crept up to about 5,000. There's a cheeky Void Staff now on Tempt as well as his Gunblade. Scaling ever so slowly. Infinity Edge just finished by Ghost as well. Some item spikes to talk about both of these teams, as Crazy has both of his wave clear options, so his split push is going to be worse and worse.
They're going to run around the map a little bit, MVP. So even though they have this strength, 5,000 gold lead, they do need to keep growing it. And for now, the vision is pretty limited for them.
Oh, Papa Smithy, there just isn't really a lot happening.
Nope. So Maha actually had a double rapid fire cannon in his inventory for a second there.
Nice.
Shout out to Deft.
Now has just one. That is certainly good. 3 item spike. We talk about item spikes for Caitlyn all the time. The more it gets after 3.
Would you say she's sufficiently
better.
spiked at the moment?
I think she's pretty spiked, yeah. Like Buffy, you'd be pretty happy.
Looks a lot like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Ooh. I think it's more of a Knuckles type build, given the control ward and the rapid fire cannon making it a little bit redder rather than blue.
If Knuckles was a League of Legends champion, it would definitely be Jinx. Jinx reminds me of Knuckles.
I don't think Knuckles is necessarily crazy. I feel like he's like a cool dude.
Knuckles is female, right? No, it's male.
No.
I forget.
Knuckles is a dude.
Okay. I defer to you on Sonic the Hedgehog.
I was a big fan, don't worry. Sonic and Knuckles is one of my favorite games.
Both of the teleport use are bot lane here on the side of BBQ. Weird that Shen and LeBlanc will be sent to the same lane. They just lose the Ocean Drake, but not the highest value Drake on the way.
Does give MVP some opportunities to start off Baron, then peel off and get that extra regen. But you're right, somewhat trivial.
MVP could have made a play on the Baron with double control. They're just going to race, though. They're going to go for an inner turret, a much faster advantage on it.
Yeah, going to make sure it's not a trade for a couple of
They're going to keep
turrets.
going. Why wouldn't they?
Exactly right. Beyond is here. Not sure why, to be honest. But
they're going to lose this race really hard.
Yeah, so that's going to be inhibitor traded for inner turret. I'm going to put that in the cons column.
I think they're going to keep going. I mean, why would you stop?
May as well win the game,
Yeah.
I think. It's the opportunity
and
here.
Crazy's just like, hey guys, please, I want to ult on someone else.
He looks like a bugged bot. Oh god, this is not exactly the best move that BBQ have made.
They're just being forced to run back as well. I mean, they won't lose a Nexus turret, but that was ill-conceived from BBQ. They're falling into Vision. BBQ are not walking through Vision.
Okay, that is going to be the engage by Beyond. Does a fair bit of damage, but thankfully the inner turret is still there. But that was a woeful passage of play from BBQ.
I mean, MVP was set up to succeed. They had double control ward on Baron. They had a unique vision of the enemy red side. They just ran top, had more people, and also could defend. And now they just turn on to Baron, and BBQ predictably, they're a bit slow, but Bless is in position.
Now, well, Max tries to predict the juke as the repel's there. Max moves on over. Temp jumps his way in, but that Elise is not going to be able to get into this pit. MVP are going to be able to kill that Spider anyway. Beyond easily takes down the Baron. He's still at full health.
Re-engage.
Yeah, they're looking for him, but massive stuns coming out from Ian. He's so incredibly low, but it doesn't matter. Maha's going to be able to clean this one up. Last auto is going to do it, and Temp says, where the heck is my team? And why is our base dead? It's the prediction from Beyond was stunning.
That was the best Prey Seeker ever.
I think you're exactly right. I think we're going to give him MVP for that. Purely for that Prey Seeker is ADD. He's going to be the one winning the game off the back of his teleport. 30 minutes in, BBQ complete brain fade on that base trade, but MVP making all of the right moves once again. Max's Blitzcrank looking fantastic, but God, that Prey Seeker.
Welcome back, MVP. We haven't seen you since you played in the playoffs of spring season. Woeful, woeful summer season. People already looking at the top of Challenger and saying, who's going to relegate MVP? Well, guess what? MVP, pick up a match victory. And honestly, MVP will be difficult because so many great plays made by this team. Some smart rotations. Love their run up the top. I know what BBQ were thinking after about 8 minutes in game one onwards. Made a lot of woeful decisions, and that was never a base race. One team was sprinting. The other team thought they were in a walking marathon.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of analogy you can really aptly give to that particular moment, Papa Smithy, because it wasn't exactly the best of times for BBQ. And with Maha having all of those items as well.
Just show me that damn prediction, Prey Seeker.
Oh,
so
please.
good.
I want the cool angles, OGN.
Bless is quite depressed. He tried to fail flash over, missed the wall.
Yeah.
It's a fat wall, but it wasn't a happy feel. BBQ thought they had the chance. Crazy did hit the taunt flash, but from there it was ultra cleanup until...
The taunt flash looked good until Ian stunned the whole team.
Just watch this. Beyond waiting, he predicts. It's just beautiful.
Too good.
Rek'Sai's very frequently do not make the highlight reel, especially now that 5-man knockups are no longer a thing. He found a way.
He did. He did. And honestly, Beyond made that Rek'Sai look like the coveted pick that he gave it priority on, because as soon as he had the opportunity to pick that champion in that draft game 2, it was snapped up with no hesitation. So that's back-to-back victories for the Rek'Sai, and most importantly, back-to-back victories for MVP. They either lose both or they win both, Papa Smithy.
And they actually move out of the relegation spots as well. They will be 8th after this game, as they are now 2-6 to end the first round robin, only with 4 game wins. But what to say, MVP outclassed, which is an important word to use for MVP season. Outclassed BBQ Olivers, who lacked imagination. The draft here made a lot of sense. You could understand what they were trying to do, but once again, it was comfort for MVP. Once they turned it on in style.
They turned it on in style, indeed. But I want to talk about how MVP played it as well, because this felt like we were watching end of spring MVP. It didn't feel like we were watching that run, as Beyond is going to pick up the MVP.
And I can continue analogy. I felt like we were watching LCK Summer 2016 Beyond, when he looked like a god of promoted MVP. He didn't have the better spring season. And I believe it's only his 2nd MVP of the year. Bouncy Castle in bot lane to start off the tidings for MVP with the double kill onto BBQ's bot lane, and didn't really let the team down from there.
No. Apart from dying in the river, which is a little bit unfortunate, but didn't seem to matter. Look at Max dodging out of the way of the flash storm. Bought so much time, and then Beyond once again, exactly where he needs to be. There's the knock-up. There's the stun from ADD. MVP, the most coordinated coordinated that they've looked all season long.
They won a war against Jinair in their first series, but it was before Jinair hit their stride in MVP and just picked up a victory without necessarily feeling great about it. This is one you can feel great about. The timing couldn't be any better. Will they parlay it into a second this week? Probably not. They face SK Telecom T1 in the final series before the Rift Rivals break. Not going to be ideal for them, but at least they go into Rift Rivals with something to smile about.
Yeah, this is the thing. They can hang their hat on something. They figured out how to win again, and look at this stun from Ian. Absolutely amazing. The hook comes out as Totoro once again subsequently killed.
Then we get to see the Praise Seeker, which
is
super sick, super sick. Now we saw, of course, the 400 IQ knock-up from the Braum. This one from Beyond was right up there. Could it be 401 IQ? I might haze a guess and say yes. We're going to hear more from MVP, and I hope we get to hear about their struggles this season.
We are going to go and throw it to Steve for some translation.
Thank you very much, Papa Alias, for a great cast for today's match. And this is Steven for today's translation. And we're moving into the booth with the winner of today's match, MVP. Win against BBQ by 2-0 score. And the two interviewers will be Max and Beyond. First of all, it's been such a long time you guys been interviewed. And congratulations. And Max is saying, I can't even remember when was my last interview was in OGN. And now Dangu is asking, how do you feel about today's match winning? And then Max saying that it was really good, great win before we're going ahead to the other match in the abroad. It was pretty good for us. And Beyond is saying that it was very important for us because we were almost in the edge of going to relegation, but I think we did a really great job. And now Cloud Temper is asking, you guys were really good in the spring season and you have a lot of slump and a lot of problems that happened to you guys. Like, what happened and how did you guys manage to control your mentality throughout the games? And Max is saying that some of us are very normal. Some of us had a bad time in showing a performance, and because of that, we kind of rushed during the game. But we tried to talk out with the teammate each other, and coach were giving a lot of feedback. Those kind of really helped out us to get out of the slump. And Nangu's asking, do you guys have a confidence playing against BBQ? And then Byeon is saying that compared to the other matches, he was very confident playing against BBQ. And now Dangu's asking about some screams and practice. And then Beyond saying that we did a great job on screamings, and then those kind of work out really well to the game. So I think it really worked out well. And Carl Temper is asking what a great initiating from Max, and what's your method of doing that? And Max is saying that there's a player really great at Raken, and I kind of copy their play and practice look at how they're playing. Those kind of playing style really helped out me to get improved. And now the Cloud Temper asking, there's a shocking pick from BBQ in the first set about Tristana. And the Max is saying that it wasn't a problem because Mao is really great player in Tristana, so it wasn't that much a problem. And now they're moving into the highlight of the first round. The game video. And then Cloud Temper talking about, although you guys took the Barons, they were very aggressive from the opponent. And then the Cloud Temper said that Beyond also went in by mistakenly. It looked very dangerous. And then the Beyond saying that it was kind of a mistake, but I gather those BBQ player in and I call out for Max to initiate for the fight. So it's kind of well planned. And then Max said, yeah, well, you did it. And Dangu said that that's what I think those Baron fight was the reason why you took the first first set. And now the second set, the Max took the Blitzcrank again. And then the Max, it was really fun for me to enjoy Blitzcrank because I think opponent bottom lane were very pressure out in the first game. So it was very easy for me to play Blitzcrank in the second round, second set. And Danggun said, did you guys had a thought about after winning the first set, you guys cut out the 14 consecutive loss? Did you guys are thinking to definitely taking the victory of today's match? And then Beyonce, we were really happy that we cutting out the 14 consecutive loss. That's why we were very talking to our teammates that we must take the victory for today's match, and I think we did that. And now Cloud Temperance said that it's been such a long time that Ian finally took the Syndra pick. So I think his play was very confident and well played out. And Max said that as soon as BBQ finished their Benson pick without Syndra, Ian called out for picking a Syndra inside the booth. And Danggun is saying that I think Syndra was very OP picks, so long was so cool. And it was really a fantastic play by Ian. And then now Danggun is saying the MVP is waiting for the Rift Rivals next weekend. And you guys are going there for Korean representative. And then Bjorn is kind of shy right now. Do you think it's gonna be work out? And Maxi said that as a Korean representative, we're gonna show a great performance. And then Danggun is kind of teasing that your first opponent is OMG from China, who's doing really well in this season. And Bjorn said, although it's the first time we're playing against them, although we're playing against him the first time, we're gonna be Korean representative, so we're gonna do our best to win against OMG. Now Cloud Templar is talking about the fears from the Beyond. He cried in the previous game. And then now Beyond said the reason why I cry because I know that some of the mistake that I already knew, and there's some part that I kind of feel bad about it, so that kind of brought my fear up. That's why I kind of cried. It wasn't actually crying, I mean it was kind of a cry of fear. That's what he tried to emphasize. And Danggun said, well, I kind of understand. And now they're looking at the second set, the highlight video. And they finish out Alice, and Alice couldn't go over the pit. And then the Beyond is saying that today Baron call was more like a very well planned compared to previous game. We were more like confidence. And now Cloud Templar is saying that this scene was amazing. And then Beyond is saying that it was kind of my instinct that probably LeBlanc will go back. So that's why I kind of like shoot out Q skill without looking. And then now Danggun is saying that Cloud Templar were kind of fierce while you guys while he had a commentating in your game. So what do you feel about that? And Max said that some of the player watching the community site, like some of the sites, and there was a picture of Cloud Templar kind of fear in our SNS, and it was kind of look weird, but I think we can go over that. And the Cloud Templar said there are kind of new patch were going on. So what do you think about those new updates?
아직도 만화 수급이 좀 많이 필요한 친구여서 대회에서 쓰기에는 좀 어려움이 있을 것 같아요. 네, 아직 어렵다고.
And then Beyond says it's hard to play in Italy because he's kind of trouble with using mana. So it's kind of a hard pick to be used. And now Danggun saying that you guys finished the first round with very great victory, and any great message to your fans for preparing for the Rift Rivals and the second round. And Maxi saying that although we have a hard opponent the first game in the second round, but we'll be well prepared and work hard for the second round. And I think that's it for today's interview. and give it back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Steve. Fantastic to finally hear from MVP, Papa Smithy.
I'm happy I get a reprieve. They don't know what I'm saying about MVP on the English broadcast, so Carl Templar can get all the shade, while I have said some less than complimentary words about MVP, but compliments are deserved for a very good victory over BBQ. Now, can they actually move forward, look respectable against SKT, make some victories at Rift Rivals and in the future? That I don't know, but this was not the MVP with the same problems that dogged them in the past, and it gets them out of relegation spots, at least for now.
At least for now. Well, BBQ Oliver's certainly not in that state. As -13 and 1-8 alongside Ever8. Ever8 being able to pick up a few more of those one-offs, meaning that BBQ take sole possession of number 10. There is still a whole nother round robin though, ladies and gentlemen, so BBQ Olivers can find their way out of it. But it's just such good news for MVP, especially because they're going to be representing Korea over at Rift Rivals, and OMG has been playing very, very
And we got
well.
good news to the stream. Guess what? Second round robin starts now. Well, not quite now, actually, in an hour and 2 minutes' time. But today, we will have the start of the second round robin. KT Rolster, fresh off losing to SK Telecom T1, face the Rocks Tigers, fresh off losing their mid laner, Mickey. So a lot of change here, potentially, between KT and Rocks Tigers.
And we're going to have a lot of question marks for KT Rolster as well, because, I mean, they didn't necessarily look all together in Game 3 versus SKT. Game 1 was absolutely fantastic, and we know that they can fall off the wagon just a little bit when it comes to